Welcome back, everybody. UFP Media presents the unfunniest podcast. Nice smile, Mike. We are in episode 33. Thank you for, I guess there's two ways to look at it. For those of you that were wishing we were no longer going to podcast, you got a couple of days rest. And for those that were waiting for episode 33, we're sorry. We've got lives and we're trying to, still trying to maintain our sanity. So Michael, famous number,
couldn't walk.
we do have lives, and famous number 33's in history. How could we forget Steve Kemp of the Tigers, Grant Hill of the Pistons,
Yes,
Magic Johnson of Michigan State, and Nick Pietrasante of the Lions. Famous number 33.
Who could forget him?
I know. How could I was sitting here thinking three of the biggest basketball players in history, arguably Scottie Pippen, number 33 of the Bulls.
Yep.
Larry Bird.
Yes.
And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Arguably three. Tony Dorsett, Zdeno Chara. God, I can't talk. And in honor of the Stunyas, is it Frank O'Harris or is it Franco Harris?
O'Harris.
I think it's Frank and then it's O''Harris. Oh.
Peyton Hillis for the Browns.
That's true. He of the Immaculate Reception fame.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome, everybody. As I said, episode 33. We made it past the holidays. We made it past New Year's. Mike is not in a full body cast like he expected to be.
Probably should be, man. Yeah, let me tell you. That was, it was not, listen, the skiing part necessarily didn't do me in. It was the shoveling. Unfortunately, Aunt Ann and Uncle Mark's snowblower was sidelined. I got 20 inches of snow between Tuesday evening, which would be the 30th, and Friday morning, the 2nd. So my cousin-in-law, whose brain is bigger than his heart, we went out, and that's the opposite of what he said about Uncle Eddie, whose heart's bigger than his brain. We went out and shoveled a couple times. The one morning was probably 6 inches. The morning before that was 8, or the morning after, I don't remember now. But what did me in was on Friday morning, the 2nd. Holy mackerel. It was maybe an inch less. And for some God unknown reason, I must have torqued it the wrong way. It was a very long drive home. It wasn't too bad. But Saturday morning, Rebecca put some heat on my back, and I tried to get off the floor in front of the fireplace in the living room, and literally probably took me 10 minutes to stand up. So
I know.
Needless to say, I did not leave my recliner for 3 days, 4 days, for all intents and purposes. Yeah, I finally feel a little looser today. It's not quite as pinching. But listen, nobody wants to hear about my stupid injuries.
We want to hear exactly. But by the way, were there not any youngins there? How come you were doing this, Mike? You're not a spring chicken.
No, I'm not. But here's my theory on that, because I was asked that question, and Kaz and I actually talked about that, and he's made a specific remark to, there's a lot younger young men on the house right now that could be, that could be doing this. And I said, yeah, good point. But for me, I am not a fan of sitting. I don't like to sit around. I don't like to sit there and do the scrolling thing on my phone. I try to avoid doing stupid habits like that. So I said, I'd rather be shoveling for 2.5 hours. We came in, we were dripping with sweat. That's how it was. 9 degrees that morning.
Was that a niner?
9 degrees that morning. We came in drenched in sweat. So
were you flying an airplane?
No.
It's next year. Ourself, Bob Patterson, Jimmy, we all have our little text chain. I think next year we're going to do the unfunniest podcast New Year's Eve special. So I think we're gonna broadcast live.
Oh man, look out!
Not to get. I know when I bring something up like this, it can be political, and I don't mean it that way. Whatever. I don't want to get into a CNN, Fox News, OAN debate, but if you're really looking for something just absolutely hilarious, watching CNN's Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen get hammered drunk and then broadcast on New Year's Eve, there was nothing better, because those two were just about to fall down. They were so hammered drunk. It was hilarious. But if they could do that
2 years ago,
no, it was this year. They brought them back, and they were hammered.
Brought them back.
They brought them back. It was funny.
I would squat over a flaming hibachi and pack my rectum full of M80s than watch that.
The point where they were reading the lyrics to Taylor Swift's song Wood. Yeah, they're a little provocative when you ever get a chance to listen to that. But let's go into something a little bit more fun.
I'm gonna take a hard pass on watching that debauchery. But anyways.
You know what? It didn't get political. It didn't get anything. It was just two idiots getting hammered drunk. So that was the best part. But speaking of idiots getting hammered drunk, Lions won their final game against the Bears.
Much to my surprise.
You know, and I'm glad because honestly, when it came down to it, that game ain't absolutely nothing. With Minnesota beating the Packers, Lions had already clinched last place in the division. So whether they won or they lost, they were going to have the last place schedule for next year. And what's the difference really in draft picks when you're 9-8 or 8-9? It's not going to be much, maybe one or two picks. And at the end of the year, it was pretty good. And let's be honest, sweeping the Bears and giving a little thumbs up to Ben Johnson across the way was not a bad way.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't expect that. I really didn't. I thought, there were some arguments being made. I didn't listen to much sports talk radio over the week between Christmas and New Year's just for a bevy of reasons. Clearly, I try to unplug, to be honest with you, that week. The vast majority of my accounts are closed down. Those businesses are not open the week between Christmas and New Year's. And this year, of course, it was even the day after. So I didn't really get to listen to a lot, but I did hear some, and there was some bantering back and forth about if Goff should even play, if Sewell should even play, which he did not end up playing, based on pointless game. Actually could mean the difference between the 16th pick in the NFL draft and the 13th pick in the NFL draft, which it did end up staying. But all that set aside, I do think that there's a lot of pride. I don't want to sound corny or throw around a bunch of cliches, but to Dan Campbell's credit, obviously, they played like they had something to play for. They played like they were going into the playoffs. By far from a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but Bears kind of lock up the number 2 seed, which inevitably they did anyways because the Eagles lost to the Commanders, Redskins, whatever. It did. It caught me off guard because I really did. I thought that game, the interesting part is, did you see the Lions were a 2.5-point favorite? I think it got down to 1 before the game.
No, it was opposite. Bears were still favorite. Bears were still favorite in that game because the Bears played.
Bears were 2.5-point favorite. Yeah.
The Bears played their entire starting team.
They did, again, because they want to lock up the number 2 spot, which essentially, if they win, and that is going to be a heck of a game on Saturday night between the Pack and the Bears at Soldier Field. But the number 2 spot ensures, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it ensures the second round, the Bears, if they beat the Pack, would host the second round game. Pretty sure that is the scenario for the number 2 seed. They don't get a bye, but they're essentially guaranteed 2 home games if they win. So, yeah, there is a bevy.
Yeah, before the championship.
Yeah, right. So, listen, this is going to be some pretty doggone good football. If you look at the bracket itself, it's interesting how, so they do reseed, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah. So let's say, for instance,
the Broncos on the AFC side have a bye, so they play the lowest remaining seed. And this ESPN bracket is so screwed up. I'm very used to the home team being on the bottom. Well, for some reason in the second round bracket, or all these brackets, they have the higher seed in the top. They're hosting the games, but anyways, nonetheless. So yeah. So the Broncos have a bye. They play the lowest remaining seed, and then it's all based off of seeding after that. So you really don't know what the second round matchups are going to be yet.
Right, because that's where the Panthers coming in at 8-9, hosting the Rams. If they win, they won't have another home game. They'll just have the home game in the first round.
What's your thoughts on avoiding said 8-9 team being a higher seed than the Rams, which clearly have a much better record? But there's always 2 arguments, right? It's okay, the goal is to win your division, and you're rewarded for winning your division with being a higher seed. But then you get a team like the Rams, which ended up, 13-4, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep.
Who
or 12-5.
Yeah. 12-5, yeah. A much better team than the Panthers, but they have to go to Carolina. Now, in my opinion, the Rams don't care because for all intents and purposes, their home games are away games anyways. They have to Stafford and the Rams have to practice, especially in games against the Eagles, against the Pack, against the Steelers, the
Even
Lions.
the Lions, yeah.
The Lions, right? It's basically a home game for those away teams. So I don't think Matt Stafford and the Rams are too terribly concerned about it going to Carolina, especially. But yeah, it is kind of weird. So I don't know. I don't know how you fix it because again, if you're going to reward, go ahead. If you're going to reward the division or the division champion, then it has to stay in place the way it is. But go ahead.
Well,
What is your thoughts?
look what happened.
Smear.
I mean, the situation that happened between the Lions and Vikings last year, where you're playing, two teams are playing for the number 1 overall seed, and the team that doesn't win drops down to the 5th seed.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I mean, that's insane. But also the same regards, they won their division. That's what you're expected to do, unless you go to something like an NBA format where you have everybody in the AFC and everybody in the NFC is just ranked 1 through 16 or whatever they have, 1 through 10.
Yeah, that's what it is.
15.
1 plays 8, 2 plays 7,
Yeah.
3 plays 6. Yeah, right.
So I mean, you could do that. Also, here's the other thought. So you had 3 teams tied at 8 or at 8 and 9,
Right.
and we're in first place, essentially 3-way tie for first place in the NFC South. The Lions had a 9 and 8 record and finished in last place in their division
and missed out on the playoffs.
Right. I mean, it tells you, to finish 9th place with, in last place compared, with a game better record.
So again, this bantering back and forth about, so you brought up a great point about the NBA. 1 through 8 gets seeded, right? As opposed to winning the division championship. Does anybody even care that they won the division in the NBA? No, they could not care less. I mean, I guess it's funny because this really opens Pandora's box to even what we've been talking about the past few weeks with Notre Dame being left out of college football playoff, right? The better team should be playing. Listen, I don't think we should get into an argument about the Lions versus the Panthers or versus the Bucks and who should be in, but it does bring up a very arguable point of if the better team with a better record is being left out of the playoffs just because an 8 and 9 Panthers team wins their division, it's probably split right down the middle. If you do one of our polls, the UFP polls, I would assume it would banter up a bunch of bantering back and forth, and it'd probably be right down the middle. Actually, I bet you it's 60-40. The opinion would be the better record should make the playoffs. I'm going to guess, so I'm going to leave it up to you to do one of our polls or one of our little snippets, and I know you're very good at that, so we'll find out.
I'm torn because, and here's the other thing. But if you do that, then you got to take away true divisions, and you wouldn't have the Lions playing the Packers twice, the Bears twice, and the Vikings twice. So you'd have to have a balanced schedule. You'd have to do everything kind of equal for there. And it's also easier to do when you're playing 82 games versus when you're only playing 17 games.
Agreed.
So,
but Mark,
there's more.
Won't be able to lift into the rafters the NFC North Championship banner. What would happen if we couldn't have a banner raising ceremony for the? Okay, never mind.
What about the in-season tournament banner raising that the Lakers did
on that crap? Dude, I'm going to tell you something right now. Talk about the most insignificant, stupid ploy in the history of sports. The NBA and their in-season tournament. Does anybody care? No.
Soccer. They're doing it because of the English Premier League and all the soccer leagues overseas, but it's different when they do it because it'd be the equivalent of having all the G League teams and all the college teams and all the NBA teams all playing together. So you could have a college team playing the Oklahoma City Thunder in the finals. So that's the difference when they do it. It's a whole all division. It's a lot different with the English Premier League versus what the NBA is trying to do. And I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to drum up something, but it's useless. Yeah. I mean, it's useless. I do give the Knicks, as a side note, I do give the Knicks credit when they won. All the players, I think, basically took their winnings and they gave it to all the staff members that didn't get paid for that time, technically. They weren't getting paid extra. So cool. Each player got like 150, 200 grand or some ridiculous amount of money. So all those other people made a good amount of money. So at least good for the Knicks when it comes to that, because I hate them, but hey, it was nice of them. But let's get back to the Lions. Let's get back to the NFL.
Yes. Go
And
ahead.
I don't think it's possible, just like we'll talk about the college football playoffs here. It's not really truly possible to get a true representation when you're only playing a handful of games versus playing all the other games that you're playing. If you were to ask me last year versus this year, I think I have a different opinion if the Lions would have lost and saying, yeah, definitely they deserved a home game versus this year. I really think that I still think that the teams you need to have the home field advantage for that first round when it comes to the conference championships, conference
Agreed.
champions. So, but the way to end the season without your starting right tackle, the rest of the team was kind of there, and the Bears didn't rest anybody. The Bears were playing everybody that they played, and they played their hearts out. And so,
Yeah. Well,
and
you could tell. So Ben Johnson, again, I'm leaning back because my back was starting to bug me. So you could tell Ben Johnson was very frustrated after that game because he called out the offense and basically said, as any coach would, you can't spot a team, let alone the Detroit Lions, 16 points until there's
nope.
2 minutes left in the game, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Bears did not look good at all. As a matter of
Nope.
fact, if I was a Bears fan, I'd be a little concerned, maybe, going into that game Saturday night against the Pack. Jordan Love's
Did you see
back. Huh?
Did you
Go
see
ahead.
the spread?
No.
Packer favored by
Pack.
1.5.
Yeah.
Packer favored by 1.5.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that
I mean, that
tells you
doesn't
what you need to
surprise
know.
me. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, the Bears
No.
defense is a little they are banged up as well. They seem a little porous. The
Uh-huh.
Lions, I mean, obviously the Lions only put 19 points up, but yeah, I think with the Packers now, this is going to be really interesting because the Pack and our friend Lafleur, he rested all the starters and he hearkened back, pardon the expression, to I believe last year or the year before when they played all the starters and they were all banged up going into the playoff game and they ended up losing. So he said that he learned his lesson from that. And he was gonna rest the starters last week. So he did. So
Yeah.
this also brings up the age-old question that we talk about many times here on the UFP Unfunniest podcast of rest versus reps. Play versus rest. Reps versus rest. Whatever you want to say. Listen, these are professional athletes. This brings up the let's bring up the NBA and our what do they call it? Time management or
Oh, load management.
load management. Yes. That should carry an underlying meaning in and of itself, load
Exactly. Yeah.
management. But yeah, these are professional athletes that are being paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. I am by no stretch of the imagination an NFL coach. However, if you inserted Mike Ward, one of the dumbest people on the face of the earth, into the head coaching position of any NFL team, just my opinion, I would want to play. I'd want to play my starters. I'd want to continue any momentum that we have. I want reps. I want these guys on top of their game. Again, just my opinion, and you might have a different opinion. You take a week off, you lose your edge. I just feel that is the case. And it's the same thing we talked about with the college football playoff outside of Indiana. Look at all the top seeds that had 4 weeks off.
And you're talking about 1 week or 2 weeks off versus what? Ohio State didn't play for, was it 28 days?
28.
Yeah, 4 weeks. I mean, there's a big difference between 2 weeks and 4 weeks when it comes
Huge.
to, or a week or two. Yeah.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, listen, what do you do with a massive college football team for 4 weeks? I mean, well, it's just like spring training. It's just like training camp. Really? No. You're at the end of the season. You have played an entire season. You are used to playing every week outside of your bye week, which I do think there's a viability to have a bye week, and I think that's very much so in the middle of the season. It's a great thing for the teams. At the end of the season, maybe for college football, 2 weeks max, but 4?
Well, and you're not talking, you're not talking 30, 20, 30, 40-year-old men when it comes down to it. You're talking 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Yes.
These are kids.
Yes, they can recover quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a big difference.
I am definitely on the side of reps versus rest. I just feel that way. And we're going to find out because the Eagles did the same thing. They rested
Eagles,
everybody.
Packers. Yep.
Eagles, Pack. So you got the Eagles hosted the 49ers, who certainly looked very strong, are certainly on a roll for all of the detractors of our friend Brock Purdy. He's playing some pretty good football right now. I like Brock Purdy. I just do.
Okay.
Just think he
Okay.
should get-
Who are
Go
you?
ahead.
Who are you more of a? I can't believe that guy is doing it. Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold?
Great question.
Like who is the better of the bad quarterbacks? Or let me rephrase that: the good of the bad. Yeah, good of.
I mean, listen, when Purdy got into the league, I think that was probably the most shocking thing, the way he's played up to this point, been playing. Sam Darnold came in with a heck of a lot more pop and circumstance and a little bit of flair, right? He was far higher in the draft. So I think it was more expected out of him. So I guess it's kind of a reverse role, really. I mean, Purdy had zero expectation. I mean, literally zero expectations.
He was Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah, right. I mean, I was just going to say it's almost a Tom Brady-esque type of situation. But man, that kid, he's a competitor. I like the way he plays. Who's the better of them though? Man, the whole so it's going to be interesting with Sam Darnold obviously this week, right? And I was almost said the Vikings, but I mean, not this week because they have a bye. They play we don't know. They play the next lowest,
the lowest division. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it's going to be. Listen, at this point, I'd say Sam Darnold is the most surprising because of the way he's played all season. After the way he ended last season against the Lions, ironically enough, I was at that game and how horrible he played in that game, and then to follow up that horrific performance the following week, and look every bit as bad, probably worse. To see the way he's played this year, how he's continued to play going into the playoffs. I mean, we'll know more clearly next week when they do play. But yeah, I would say the surprising one is definitely Sam Darnold. If you listen to a lot of the pundits say Ginger cannot win a big game and/or Super Bowl.
And this is all the time. This is where we needed our big guy Jimmy to give us that true representation of.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, MIA.
I would say that. Let's take Sam Darnold's now. This is the second team he's done this for in consecutive seasons that he's played great football. I think if you put Brock Purdy on a different team, he's not going to be near as effective versus where he's at with the 49ers, because I think that's Shanahan's amazingness.
Agree.
But now if you put Sam Darnold on a third different team in 3 years, does he have that? I would probably bet him more than I would bet
Purdy.
Brock Purdy. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I think so. I think you're right on that one.
So yeah, let's go over some of the matchups here.
Go ahead.
What we're seeing. Saturday's matchup, Saturday, the afternoon game on Fox. It's going to be the Rams versus the Panthers. Rams are 10.5 point favorites.
Isn't that crazy?
So what that tells me, I'm going to, if I'm betting, I'm taking the Panthers plus 10.5.
I was going to say, if you're betting, yes, which I am not a betting man. You run circles around me with that stuff. But yeah, even my dumb, knows at a 10.5 point favorite on the road in a opening playoff round. Can we look that up? Has there ever been a road team 10.5 point favorite in the first round of the playoffs? Wow.
I'll look that up. My friend, Mr. Chat GPT, usually can tell me stuff like that.
Yeah, you and your Chat GPT.
Come on now, you love it. What is here? Let me type.
What is the largest point spread for an away team in the opening round of
the NF? The largest NFL visiting team? I messed that up.
Point spread. Say it out loud, Miller.
What is the largest favorite for a visiting team in the NFL playoffs in history?
Survey says.
All right. Searching for who was the biggest favorite. And context visitor. So, they're spitting out a lot of stuff. All right. So,
too much.
The Chargers. Okay. So, the largest point spread ever was Chargers were getting 18.5 against the 49ers in the Super Bowl in 1995.
What?
Yeah.
Why don't I remember that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Top road favorite spreads. Yes, I would like. Yes, give me that list. All right. What is this going to say? Talk to me, Goose. All right, here we go. That one doesn't count. No, that one, it's still messing up. It's not the.
See?
Right, it's giving. Largest road favorites. Here we go. Okay, so that's officially, yes, 10.5 points is the largest in history right now for this year. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady's Buccaneers, were 10-point favorites at Washington in 2021. New Orleans Saints were 10-point favorites at Seattle in 2010. That is affectionately known as the Beastquake game when
Beastquake.
Marshawn Lynch
Yeah.
was on the Richter scale. So let's look at. So obviously New Orleans Saints lost. So the home team won in that one, and and then Tom Brady won in 2021.
21, right?
So I guess it's kind of a 50-50 right now when it comes to that. By the way, it was a quick aside. If you ever get a chance and you get some free minutes, go down a rabbit hole. Marshawn Lynch does these in yo cities where he goes around with Prime and the different cities. And he did one in Houston where he went to the Houston Symphony Orchestra, and it was awesome. It was so cool to see. So
Really?
little side note, my ADD kicking in there.
All right.
So huge point favorite. I still got to go Rams in that one over the Panthers, but I think the Panthers cover, and I think we both agree on that.
I agree.
Okay, so I'm going to write these down like I have the rest of them, so give me a second here.
Studious.
I am, Mike.
I'm still sitting back in my chair because I can't. My back is starting to torque up, but I'm
Rams. All right, Packers and the Bears. So Green Bay is a 1.5 favorite. That's going to be a great game Saturday night. We may have to get together Saturday night for that one.
Perhaps.
So who do you like in that one?
I'm gonna take the Pack. I guess I'm gonna go against what I was talking about, reps versus rest, and side on the side of Mr. Lafleur, and say that the Pack are going to go into Soldier Field and beat the Bears. I think they've got a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth from a couple of weeks ago. Last 2-minute heroics of the Bears to come back and then beat them in overtime. That's going to left a little bit of a sting, and I do think that the Pack outplayed the Bears in that game, with the exception of the last 3 minutes. And I think Lafleur will outcoach our friend Ben Johnson. Considering this is Ben Johnson's first playoff game as a head coach as opposed to a coordinator, I think that's a huge difference. Although no, it probably should be, or probably is. But yeah, I'm going with the Pack. Give me the Pack. I'm going to go 21-17. What's the weather like that night? That'll be
interesting.
Well, that was the one thing about the game the other night was the very little bit of wind that there was there in the Windy City. Our friend Tom Brady even mentioned that there was not a lot of wind in the Windy City that night. So
no.
Yeah.
I so want to pick the Bears. I really want to pick the Bears.
Which you're really not going to.
This just in. I got to pick. I'm picking the Bears. I'm picking the Bears.
Miller is picking the Bears.
I am, because I had that written down, but then you, some reason, actually made a legitimate point, and I didn't want to admit that. And so I had a problem when it came down to that.
Oh, boy.
So, you know what I'm actually looking for, Mike, and I'll try to find it, was the breakdown we had for the college football, because I know we listed the scores we gave for that one. So I'm trying to find that one.
While you're trying to find that, Mark, at this point in our broadcast, we're going to go over to Mike Chuck Gadick Award for today and tonight's forecast for Chicago, Illinois, on the lake shore of Lake Michigan, Soldier Field, Saturday, January 10th in the nighttime, headed into Sunday, January 11th. We're looking for cloudy with rain and snow. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the date. Cloudy with snow showers, mainly during the evening on Saturday night there along the lake shore. Low near 25. Winds. Are you ready? Winds west 15 to 25 mile an hour. So we're going to get a crosswind across the field there at Soldier Field. So chance of snow is 40%. So the temperature will be 25, it looks like, at game time, with a real feel, Mark, of 15 above,
and this is
below.
This is why God invented dome.
No. It was made to be played outside. I don't want domes, especially with the Browns going off the lake shore. What an advantage. You know, it's funny how the algorithms pull up, not that I'm going off topic, but I'll say this really fast. Like the algorithms pick up your habits, right? And what you look at. The amount of Browns mid to late 80s playoff games that are coming up in my, whatever the heck they call it, the feed, is pretty neat. and to see the snowbanks there at the old stadium. I know I always bring this up. People are like, "Oh God, here he goes again with one of his stupid ass Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Stadium memories." Yeah, well, I am. So yeah, that's the way football was meant to be played, outside. If you can't do it, then don't go to the game. Sit at the friendly confines of your couch and your big screen TV was just fine too.
Playing, I love that weather. As a fan, nope, no, hate it.
It's not great as a fan, but now
No.
listen, okay, so even with my back, I'm scheduled to go up to the UP next weekend for a couple days to go snowmobiling. Well, I was at Costco tonight, the very, very short amount of time that I was able to actually walk, and that's why I'm probably hurting even more. And I bought myself a pair of heated socks. I can't wait to try these things out.
We are getting old when you're excited about heated socks.
Heated socks. I almost bought the heated vest, but it was like $50. And I said, you know what? I got enough layers I can layer up. But I am going to get myself some heated mittens too. And here come the
Wait, now gloves, or is it going to be the mittens?
Mittens. Mittens. Your fingers together. Obviously, your thumb plays on the outside. Wow, that could go in a lot of different ways. But mittens, I find, are far, far superior to gloves because when you have gloves on, each finger is exposed to the wind and the air. So
it's extra surface space.
I'm glad you brought that up because before I leave for the road tomorrow, I'm going to have to find myself a outlet for heated mittens. So yes. Anyways, we got way off topic with another one of my stupid, useless information pods.
Let's talk about one of the 1B when it comes to best games of the weekend, the Bills and the Jaguars. Buffalo, another road favorite. Buffalo's favored by 1.5 at the Jaguars because this is going to be, although it's not his first year, it's going to be the second year he's been in the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence, the first year they went up to Kansas City and lost at Kansas City a couple of years ago. But you talk about
that was in the second round though.
That was.
They won the first round playoff game, I believe, against
Houston.
Yes, you are correct. It was in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and I think to me the Bills are the only word to describe them is bipolar this year. The same as they were so up when they went down. And granted, New England had an incredible year. They're still 12-5, but it's another coin toss.
You can't put your finger on the Bills. It is very odd. I mean, Josh Allen, as usual, has played pretty much lights out, but it's just going to show you and prove that, I mean, a quarterback certainly can take you a long way, but at the end of the day, he can only take you so far. I mean, this is the argument is always made about if you lose your starting quarterback, your season's over, which I agree with. I mean, it's very difficult, and it's been proven many times with some outliers, like Tom Brady with Mr. Bledsoe going down. But generally speaking, you lose your starting quarterback, you might as well kiss your season goodbye. But also at the same time, I mean, if your starting quarterback is otherworldly like Tom Brady and you have nothing else, you have no running game, you have no defense, you're toast. But in a roundabout way, boy, I'm not on any medication for my back. I swear to God, I have not even taken an ibuprofen, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm gonna go reluctantly with the Bills.
I'm the same way. I go in Bills 28-24.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I like that score, actually. I think it'll be pretty, relatively speaking, higher scoring. So
should be good weather down in Duval. I just don't want him to win to say Duval. But all right, the next game, which is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. Philly and the 49ers. Philly is a 4.5-point favorite at 4:30 on Saturday. I think I don't think the 49ers. The 49ers aren't going to have what they need to do. I really think the Eagles are going to step back up. You're going to see their defense kind of take over a little bit. It's going to be low scoring, but I just don't see Brock Purdy being able to lead them. And I don't think other than Christian McCaffrey, I don't think they've got really anyone else on offense that can truly match up. And I really think it's going to be the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going along with you on that pick as well. I think that the Niners are pretty banged up as they are. Kind of a testament to their coaching staff and the way that they have been able to navigate that. A little bit opposite of the Detroit Lions, but Kyle Shanahan is year over year in the top echelon of the coaches in the NFL. But this is, again, here we go. I'll go off on a quick side note. This is the argument with the Lions right now, too, is you use the 49ers as kind of a gauge or at least a reference to how they fell, but they got right back up. Not to use a bunch of corny cliches. But and why the future for the Detroit Lions is still very bright. The nucleus is there, the core is there. I was reading an article just before we went on and did our little pre-show stuff, how coveted the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator position should and will be, which I agree with. I mean, think about it, right? You got Jared Goff, you got Gibbs, you got Montgomery, you got J-Mo, hopefully Laporta's back, Amon-Ra, a whole bevy of superstars on the offensive side. You've got the core, well, I don't know if you can call it core. You got Penei Sewell on the line. Who knows what's going on with Decker? They clearly are going to have to invest in both lines, period, end of story. But to my point about the offensive coordinator position and how attractive it would be, I would agree with that 1,000,000%. It's a very, very attractive position. So, but yeah, to circle back, I think using the 49ers as an example, I think this is definitely something to gauge yourself off of. But anyways, yes, I'm also going to go with the Eagles.
Yeah,
I think the Niners are too beat up. Whatever that stadium is, PacSun. No, it's not PacSun. The
Lincoln Financial.
Link. Yeah.
Yeah, Lincoln Financial. Well, remember the last time that the 49ers and the Eagles played in the playoffs, Christian McCaffrey had to play quarterback for the 49ers.
Yeah, remember that? I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was
They were this close to calling me to play quarterback. That's how desperate they were.
Speaking of desperate, the one Harbaugh left in the league going into Foxborough Sunday night as a 3.5-point dog.
Got to be America's team.
To play the Patriots. New England favored by 3.5 Sunday night.
Pats, Drake May, Vrabel. Look what Mike Vrabel has done to that team and that franchise in 1 year. I mean, you ever want an instance and an example of how a coach can completely and totally turn a team around? And if you are the Tennessee Titans and their fans and that franchise right now, what?
It wasn't the coach.
No, it was not the coach.
Nope.
So, I mean, obviously he's an Ohio State alum, so pulling for him a little bit there. And I've always
can't hold that against him.
I know. I always loved watching Vrabel play, his passion, the way he knows the game. There's something to be said about that too, the way that these players play for him. And I do think that, you look at somebody like Vrabel, you look at somebody like Dan Campbell, in just a small relative sense, these guys relate to them because they played. Doesn't necessarily mean that is the only qualification for being a good coach. All I'm saying is it is a bonus when a coach like Vrabel or Dan Campbell, these players can relate because they've been there, they've done that. You can say that in a lot of different professions. Excuse me. I continue to sit back in my recliner here.
All right. First of all, why is there a Monday night game? It makes no sense. Why not have... I hate
second or third year for it, right?
I hate a Monday night playoff game, but it is the Stunya Bowl. The Texans at the Steelers. The Stunya is going to be in attendance for that game.
Yeah, you better doggone believe it. They were in attendance the other night. Ann, Uncle Mark, Joey Stunya came in from New York to go to the game. And then with my cousin-in-law, whose brain is bigger than his heart again. Kaz, that's a compliment, dude. They were at the game, and I was texting with Ann the next morning, and she you could almost hear through the text, if that's even possible, her exhaustion, but yet her exuberance at the same time. And I said to her, I think in the text, I'm like, you could hear and feel that stadium, and far be it for a Browns fan like myself to give the Stillers any credit whatsoever, but that was a pretty cool moment. And our friend Aaron Rodgers did his little stunt, his little jump in the air, one arm forward. What is that celebration? I've never figured that out. Do you know?
I don't like Aaron Rodgers, so I don't pay any attention to anything he does. Aaron Rodgers can die of gonorrhea and burn in hell. Laces out. Now, I respect him. He's a great ball player, but I can't stand him.
I've gone back and forth on Aaron Rodgers for so many years. I've loved him. I've hated him. I loved him. I hated him. And, some of the things he says, it's like, But at the end of the day, when you got a 42-year-old quarterback, I guess this is the Phillip Rivers analogy too, right? Like you kind of feel yourself. I can't believe I'm going to say this about a Steelers quarterback. Somewhat pulling for him. Okay, there, I got it out. I was rooting for, believe it or not, again, it's hard to say. I did want the Steelers to beat the Ravens. I probably one of my least favorite teams in the NFL is the former original Cleveland Browns franchise, and our wonderful friend Art Modell, the Baltimore Ravens. Down with the Ravens and down with John Harbaugh, now unemployed. We were talking about it in our pregame meeting.
The Black Monday.
Yeah, Black Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyways,
I don't know if we're going to have much time to talk about that now. So obviously we went over our picks for the last game. Houston, who are you going to pick? Houston or the Steelers? I got Houston -3.
I'm going with the Steelers. That is at Heinz Field. I'm still going to call it Heinz Field as opposed to Acrisure Insurance Company Field, whatever the hell it is. Heinz Field there. I do think that the Aaron Rodgers experience will come out. Although, I mean, the Texans are playing pretty well. I just think that's a pretty tough environment for them to go to. Dome team outside at night in the cold, in the elements. Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So now we're going to switch over to some NCAA football. And Mike, I have to say this. After the first 2 rounds of our picks, I'm 7-1 for picks of the college football playoffs. And I want to go this. I found it. The Mike Ward calling me absolutely lucky for the coin flip I made for the Ohio State Miami game. The final was a 10-point game, 24-14. Miami won. I'll even have you know, I called that game 21-17 Miami. So I was pretty darn close even for that.
Oh boy, you're really reveling in this.
So Jimmy and I both were 3-1. Both of us had Ole Miss. Mike, you happen to go 1-3.
Yep.
Your one victory was Oregon.
Yes, I should probably walk myself right off the field. Indiana, listen, not that I don't like Indiana and Cignetti. I guess I was like a lot of the rest of the nation. I'm not now, but just maybe a little bit of that doubt sneaking in. Like, is this for real? Even after the Ohio State victory, which clearly should have given me far more insight as to how good they really were. But I confidently, and I'm here to tell you that I was obviously very wrong, but I confidently thought that Alabama on a neutral field at the Rose Bowl was going to go in and beat Indiana. I was horrifically mistaken, terribly mistaken, as Indiana throttled Alabama.
Total control. Well, just like I was completely wrong with that Texas Tech Oregon game, I kept watching that game thinking, all right, Texas Tech's going to start scoring now. They're going to start scoring. They're averaging 42, 43 points a game. Like they never did. Shut out. They never couldn't do anything. And they kept turning, and then the opposite side, Oregon kept turning the ball over. Texas Tech's defense was playing incredible, but they just couldn't get anything started on Oregon's defense.
Yeah. I mean, again, I guess going back to Indiana, the way Cignetti has turned that program, that institution, the entire aura of Indiana football, which was a perennial doormat for 40 plus years. It's nothing short of amazing. I mean, he's just, did you see that one when they tried to draw them offsides on a fake punt? They were going to do a fake punt. And they showed Cignetti's face on the sideline with the one eyebrow up. Like, are you serious? Are you really going to try that on? Like, dude, this guy, he's an arrogant SOB, but he's starting to grow on me. And I don't.
What about that one of pointing over at
what's his face? The broadcast. Pat
McAfee.
McAfee, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome, that video.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be anxious to see. I'm going to bring up the spreads here for this weekend's and actually this weekend's tomorrow's game. Tomorrow.
Yeah, who's playing tomorrow night?
So tomorrow night is going to be Ole Miss and Miami. So Miami is favored by 3.5, and that game is going to be at the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, which is the dumbest name. It's VRBO.
VRBO.
It's not Verbo.
Why do they keep trying to change it to Verbo?
I guess apparently it's always been Verbo, and everyone just referred to it as VBR.
VRBO. I mean, anybody that you talk to, does anybody say, yeah, I got a Verbo and a Siesta Key? No, I got a VRBO.
I have a vacation rental by owner.
Yeah. Yeah, spell it all the way out.
So this is going to be a tough one for me because these are both my teams I like. Miami seems to be a team of destiny after what
I
happened
agree.
last year to them, but yet Old Miss trying to give the middle finger to everybody in college football, including LSU. I,
Did you see the
I
story about Ole Miss's coaching staff that's
well,
following Lane Kiffin?
the coach that was coaching them last week isn't going to coach them this week.
This is insanity to me.
Yeah.
This is insanity to me. This is the epitome of what everybody's bitching about with college sports and college football in particular. Well, we could get into college basketball and what our friend Tom Izzo and even Calipari went off on this week about. I mean, what are we doing, dude? Somebody
3 years
needs
and
to, somebody needs to step in and it's hard. I mean, they'd have to basically these kids won because we talk about NIL and transfer portal and this and that and everything else. You got kids that are saying 1 week I'm here to stay, and the next week they're going, oh yeah, never mind. I guess I'm going to transfer out. Why is the transfer portal opening the week of one of the playoff rounds? How much sense does that make? I mean, you've got some of these kids playing in these playoff games that are announcing that they're going to transfer. Oh, what? What in the? This is. I think everyone can agree. We do not want college football to become NFL light or NFL G League for that matter. That's exactly where we're going with this crap. I mean, whatever. And the coaching is the same thing. You know, the NFL has rules in place of not tampering with coaches, not being able to interview in person an active coach that's actively going to be coaching in games. Why is that not a rule in college? Why is a coach at Ole Miss coaching 1 week and not the next? After, oh yeah, by the way, their the previous head coach of that left. This stuff is whatever.
I really want to get you. I really want to get you worked up with this one before we go into our next our picks. But did you hear about Brendan Sorsby, the starting quarterback for Cincinnati Bearcats, who just transferred to Texas Tech?
Yeah. I heard something about that.
Did you hear what his NIL deal was?
No. How much? 5 a year?
1 year, $5 million.
Dude.
Well, now, what is this here? LSU reported offered him 3.5, and he. Everything I'm seeing is he went to Texas Tech for 5.
Whatever. I don't.
More power to him. They're going to give it. Why not? If Bobby or Carter were in that situation, I'd be telling them to take the money immediately.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But I'm just saying. I mean, these guys are going to be. I mean, some of them. Why would you leave to go to the NFL? I mean, you're making more money. I mean, he's going to make more money than probably the second round draft pick in the NFL by far.
Well, it's happening with the game we're talking about right now with Carson Beck. Carson Beck, it was never going to go pro, but instead goes to Miami, and he's making probably $3 million a year plus going down to Miami for a year, and they got him in this 1 game away from the national championship. Hey, why not? Him and dating a Cavender twin, and they get all of their luxury cars stolen from their driveway in Miami.
The Cavender twins did?
Yeah, he's dating one of the Cavender twins. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So going back to everything
nice young ladies.
Yeah, great. They only transferred for the real deal. After hearing and after seeing Old Miss, I think Old Miss's run is done. After changing coaches again, I could be wrong, but I got to pick Miami in this one.
Yeah, I'm going Miami. I think even though they beat up on the Buckeyes, this goes back to I don't think it's hard to tell if Ohio State would have beaten Miami. Ohio State looked once again here. I probably should have taken just as much out of the Ohio State loss to Indiana as I should have taken out of Indiana beating Ohio State. They did not look good. They did not look prepared. They looked like they had 28 days off, which again was a disadvantage. Indiana had the same amount of time off, and it didn't hurt them.
The Fighting Signettis were right.
The Fighting Signettis, yeah. So my argument is, for all intents and purposes, null and void at that point. But yeah, Miami looked. I mean, their defense was just stellar. It's not like they were scoring at will, but they were certainly moving the ball up and down the field. And then when Ohio State pulled to within 3, and they got the ball and Miami got the ball with 5 minutes left, that was a methodical, time-eating drive to go down the field, score a touchdown, and for all intents and purposes, Well, they did. They put it away.
Yeah.
Did you say did Ohio State let them score
Yes.
that last? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they wanted.
it's a smart move to make because if they would have
Well,
went
yeah,
down, the game would have been over.
yeah, right, exactly. They
Yeah.
would have wound the clock down. So
A better chance to score, hopefully score quick, get an onside kick, and try it again because that's your only way you're going to win.
they would have had a better chance of playing pickup sticks with their butt cheeks.
Don't even want to admit. Don't even want to look at that.
Ah,
Second game for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
buddy.
Oregon Fighting Ducks versus the IU Fighting Clarks. 3.5 point. I figured this was good, but this is a rematch, so it's hard to beat a team twice. And IU took care of Oregon at Oregon this year.
They did. I don't see this train being derailed by I at all. I think IU wins this game, not handedly. 21-10 is what I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
They are so well coached. They are such a well-oiled machine. He is proving to be probably the top coach in college football right now. I don't even know if there's a question behind that. He will have them ready. He has a game in hand with them. He knows that they beat them at Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is of course my record in these picks are pathetic. Indiana fans are probably going to start screaming that my dumb what decided to pick them. But
We're gonna have Clark and his son on here next week.
Yeah.
Just to see. I had IU picked for all those same reasons, and you know what? I just crossed them out. I'm going Oregon. I'm going an upset.
Whoa.
I'm going with Oregon. Look good. The way that they played against Texas Tech.
Yeah, they did. But so did Indiana.
Yeah. No, it's not it. It just, I don't know. My guts tell me Oregon right now. Maybe it's my a couple years or whatever.
7-1, Ward.
I was gonna say when I lived in Oregon, and I lived out in Beaverton, but
the Fighting Beavers.
Beaverton, Oregon. I'm just mad I never got to go to the Nike store. No, there's a Nike employee store that every employee gets a couple passes they can give. So imagine getting Jordans for like 80% off.
Oh, wow.
Like
Well,
the Nike store is just ridiculously cheap stuff.
Mhm.
And I never got a chance to go. But so that's our picks. The only one difference, I'm going Oregon, you're going IU, which I still think IU is going to win, but I just guts tell me Oregon right now when it comes down to that.
Think so?
I think so. Just something maybe. And speaking of just something and just that feeling, how about the Stones, the Pistons, playing incredible basketball right now?
Continuing to play incredible basketball.
It's
had a little bit of a hiccup there with their 2-game losing streak, but right back on track, beating up on the Knicks.
The Cavs. The Cavs and the Knicks.
Cavs and the Knicks, yeah, right. Well, they didn't beat up on the Cavs. They beat the Cavs by 4.
It's true.
But they beat the living bejesus out of York.
30-point
victory.
And previous, and one of those things I was telling Mike, which I don't think a lot of people realize, the Pistons were without, I think, 2 or 3 of their starters.
Mm-hmm.
And playing at home again on the second night of a back-to-back with that nasty load management thing where they were trying to rest some of their players, almost kind of giving that game away to New York. And Cade Cunningham said no. And Jaden Ivey said, we're taking this, and Isaiah Stewart did too. Incredible. They're 27-9 right now. As I'm looking, they're beating the Bulls 88-83 right now. Incredible team right now.
Well, they're absolutely an incredible team, and it's kind of interesting to listen to some of the national pundits continue to question if this team is for real. You're 27-9. You're beating teams in pretty convincing fashion in many ways. This is not a fluke. This is not a team that's going to falter. Are they going to go through some hills and valleys? Sure, but as a general rule, I think these guys are legit, and we're going to see that. This team is poised to, I believe, win a first-round playoff series, depending on how they play down the stretch. You probably start predicting they could very well win a second-round playoff series. And Bickerstaff has them rolling, and I think this is pretty cool to watch. It is amazing to see how fast of a turnaround. You got to give a lot of credit to Trajan Langdon and what he's done in the front office. I said this earlier in the year when we were talking about this. I think there was some question. You got to give 100% credit to Trajan Langdon. Okay, well, he came in. There were still plenty of pieces there for from the previous regime. So you can't give him 100% credit, but yeah, you change a GM like that, and he's definitely pulled the strings the right way, and they're an impressive team. They're fun to watch, even though I haven't really been able to watch much of them.
No, and yeah, because you don't steal Bally Sports like I do, and you watch the Wings and everything else. And you talked about being built to maybe go far in the playoffs. Not only that, they're built for a couple years. Their team is young.
Oh, yeah.
They got an average age of they're 13th in the NBA with an average age of 25.1 years old. They're young. Their players are under contract for a couple years. They've got a good nucleus. And I can't see them. I can see these guys staying together for a couple years. And honest, in that, uh, Duncan Robinson pickup was one of the best pickups they had in the offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean, they're making the right moves, they're pulling the right strings, they're playing with passion. I love how they play defense, just not to go into the weeds and get coach speak, but I mean their help side defense, their energy. I mean, it's something to revel in. It's throwback basketball, I guess you would say, right? So,
Yeah.
yep.
Uh, speaking, talking about teams too, and we pretty much put Oklahoma City as the gold standard right now when it comes to teams. There's only a 2-game difference between Oklahoma City and the Pistons. Oklahoma City's lost 7 games. The Pistons have lost 9 games. So it's not like we're talking massive difference between these two. So both of them are playing incredible, and really anxious to see what takes and what they're going to kind of go through here in the future. And up 9 in the fourth quarter now, 92-85. So hopefully they can close it out and keep on that winning way. Yeah, no, actually home.
Oh, home.
Yeah. I do want to get down to a Pistons game this year.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. That's one. Definitely don't want to sit in the upper deck for that one, because you're just too far away from the action when it comes to theirs. Hopefully if anyone's got free tickets, let us know. We'd love to come down to the game.
Yeah. Scroungers.
We're scavengers. Last thing we'll talk about quickly, and I'm not going to go in too far into the weeds in depth when it comes to this, but once again, the Red Wings top in their division as well. They had a little hiccup for a couple games too. Lost 2 straight games, but they're back on the winning ways too. I'm curious what's going to happen, if it's going to be like it was last year after the All-Star break, after the Olympics, and is it going to be any different? Are they going to continue to play well?
Well, I was able to watch a couple of the games in the past week. I watched the game at the Penguins with Ann. I was there in Pittsburgh, or southeast of Pittsburgh. To their credit, went down 2-0, battled back 2-1, tied it at 2. Ended up losing in overtime, but it's always a crapshoot in overtime with a 3-on-3, and I love it. I think it's awesome, the 3-on-3 hockey in overtime, wide open space. I mean, you see this again. Here we go with another stupid cliche, but you see the stars shine, whatever that's supposed to mean. So they faltered in overtime in that game, and then came home on Saturday and did not look good at all.
No,
that was They looked flat.
17 shots, I think, or some ridiculous.
No, 12.
12. That's right. 12.
12. They didn't have a shot 13 minutes into the first period of that game. Not a single shot on net, which PK Subban on the broadcast was reveling in, of course.
I like PK. I like PK.
I do too. I like him too, but the amount of salivation that happens over Sidney Crosby on the broadcast too. Holy cow. I know. Sid the kid. He's great. He's the best. Blah, 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 blah. You listen, when Crosby's diving for pucks, when he's blocking shots, you got to give it to him after 14 years in the league now? Well, more than that, because he was in that 09 Cup. Was he a second-year player that year?
I think
in
so.
09 when they beat the Wings? Yeah. So he's approached 17 or 18 years. But anyways.
God. We're old.
I know. Yeah. So the Wings, they didn't look good in that game, but who knows? But they came back. McClellan, he shook the lines up the other night. Was that Monday or Tuesday night? And boy, they responded. They scored 5 goals for the first time in almost a month. And they typically have never played well against the Senators for some reason. I think they were 2-6 against the Sens prior to that. And went in, beat them 5-3. So
it was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. Right back on track. And listen, I mean, I've said this a few weeks ago about Yzerman. I mean, it's the same thing I just said about Trajan Langdon, right? He comes in, he gets a lot of credit for building the team and turning the team around quickly, which I agree with. However, again, there was a previous regime that drafted, traded for, and built somewhat of that team. I would make the argument the same way. All of the Yzerman detractors that wanted to get rid of him, you get rid of him. Let's just say, in theory, you got rid of him last year. Now, all of a sudden, would everybody be looking back going, oh, crap, Steve Yzerman was right? Because I think that's what's happening right now. I think you're starting to see the patience, albeit I was just as impatient as everybody else, but this is a young team. This is the core of this team is young. They are fast. You've got Edmondson and Sider, probably one of the best defensive pairings in the NHL right now. They look really good, man. I mean, this team is now built. Again, I'm not being a slappy of Steve Yzerman, but this team is definitely, you can see it, starting to show signs of being built for the long haul, right? So it's good. I love it, man. This is what we wanted. They put the Hockey Town logo back on the ice. That's what happened.
Absolutely. Two things one thing we're going to have our UFP media Olympic coverage beginning here soon, the Winter Olympics. So
I would rather pack my rectum.
Well, we're going to give you all of the skeleton, Nordic combined, biathlon, and speed skating results that you really were looking for. We're in luge, in the double luge. Mike and you and I are going to go into the double luge. So just think of my weight.
Is broomball an Olympic comp? Is broomball in there?
Absolutely. But so we were talking the other night, Kathy and I were watching one of the Pistons games, and I heard.
Is that what you call it now? Oh, yes, Pistons. Yeah, sorry.
It's just like what ESPN guys used to say, and that's a 2-4-6 double play if you're scoring at home or even if you're alone. So the topic of Mason came up, the Pistons announcer. And I don't know I can never remember how you feel. I'm not a fan of Mason's. I think he goes a little bit crazy, goes a little bit overboard with the stuff that he does. But I was watching a podcast, the All the Smoke podcast, which is a good podcast. They had Rasheed Wallace on, and Rasheed Wallace talked about the role that Mason played with that team and how Mason pumped that team up and how they just loved the way he announced and the Detroit basketball and everything else. And then I was like, as much as I don't like them, it's not for me. It's for the players. They're the ones that need to this is for them. And if they love it and this is what they want, yeah, then that's exactly what it is. But I can never remember how you felt about Mason as a PA announcer.
I like him. Think clearly. He has a very unique style. Different. So you and I grew up with, again, the old Ken Cal.
Ken Cal. Yep.
Or Ken Calvert, I should say, not Ken Cal, because Ken Cal is the current Red Wings
Ken Calvert. Yeah.
Ken Calvert from whatever radio stations he
Wheels.
was on. Yeah, Wheels. That, again, I've referenced the old Cleveland Stadium. I've referenced the old Richfield Coliseum. Like almost $1 billion organization that is able to pump plenty of money into the sound system and the computer diagnostics that go through and help him with his echoes and this, that, and everything else. You and I do not have that.
We just have natural talent.
Exactly. But yeah, I like him. I think he's good. Clearly he resonates with the fans, and to your point, he resonates with the players. So there's absolutely a role for a public address announcer to do such a thing, and it's pretty neat to hear Sheed say something like that. And it's not that nobody's ever said that before. You just don't hear it a ton, or it doesn't get publicized a lot, right? But there is 1,000,000,000% authenticity about the thought of a public address announcer in an arena, in a stadium, that can absolutely turn momentum. I firmly believe that it is the role of that PA to get the crowd into the game, to get the players pumped up, to get them, whether it's the starting lineups, whether it's getting them back on the floor, whether it's, listen, my inflection, and I'm sure you do the same thing. But when you're calling fouls on the home team versus the away team, it's when you're calling out of bounds away versus home, right?
It's that difference between traveling and traveling.
That's right.
You do the two different ways.
Yeah. So you know what? Hold on, I got to share my screen. Listen. Our friend who's quickly become one of my, not that I never liked Tom Izzo before, but so this is pretty cool. Did you see the other night when they got, now that we're talking about crowds, Nebraska rushed the floor?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so they caught a lot of flags. No, no more floor rushing. Somebody's going to get hurt. Well, Izzo, to his credit, he hold on here. Let's go back. Let's just watch this real friend Tom Izzo. Here he is. All right. Yeah, this always happens. Where is the? Hold on, I got to get the
up on top there by his head.
Huh? Oh yeah, there it is.
In that day,
Hold on.
storm the.
There we go.
And we got to be careful and all that. I absolutely loved it.
Ha! Oh, I loved
absolutely
it.
loved it.
Look at that.
There's that much passion that they storm the court and that and what I missed the question. I was hoping I got stomped on. Be careful and all that. I absolutely loved it.
I love it.
Absolutely loved it.
See,
there's that much passion that they.
There was a sports science did something for him a few years ago, and they had a heart monitor on him. One of the games, his heart, essentially, he has a heart attack during every game. The way his heart is pounding, it's like he has a heart attack literally every single game. I don't know how he's still alive.
Oh yeah, but I love that. So this goes back to my point. Again, I can hear the naysayers now. Here he goes again about one of his stupid crowd things and how the crowds don't get into it. Well, when you were brought up, like Mark and I were, around fan frenzies and arenas that turned games, and there's still plenty of them out there. But I would say the same thing. I am a 1,000% advocate for getting high school atmospheres back to where they were even 10 years ago. And if you high school kids watch these, just watch a college basketball game like this, like a Michigan State at Nebraska, or watch the Breslin Center at Michigan State and watch their student section and watch how engaged they are. It is game changing. There's so many different occurrences in sports history, and this is why they call it home court, home ice, home field advantage. Crowds can change games, period. End of story. PA announcers, to a lesser extent, can change games. So, yeah, I agree with Izzo. You win a big game, you want those kids, you want the college kids on the court? Absolutely. I mean, is there a risk of somebody getting hurt? Sure. Well, there's a risk of my dumb, getting hurt shoveling snow. Oh, yeah, I did. So at that point, why not? Let them storm the court. It's to Izzo's point. He was hoping he was going to get stomped on. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, and
cool. As Mike is getting all worked up and he's getting all set here, why don't we kind of start to go into this?
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Mike's Rant of the Week. And now, here is Mike with his rant.
Rant?
Playoffs?
Well, yeah. So I'm going to stick on the sports theme today, and I'm going to go back and this isn't necessarily a redo, or I'm not going to belittle the same point over again, but acronyms, stupid acronyms. Do you know what I'm talking about? Listen, I don't know if there is many of them, but in sports, for some reason, there are two that are really, actually there's three that are really getting on my nerves. These acronyms or these abbreviations or these lazy, I can't say two words in the same sentence running next to each other. So here are the three that are really driving me nuts. When you win the college football playoff championship, it is called a national championship. For some God unknown reason, we have decided to abbreviate it to natty. I feel like it's a gnat, like it's a bug. What?
You're old. There's a new term.
No.
You want a chip.
I give up. I'm out.
You're really old now because natty isn't even the word. We're doing it for the chip.
I cannot express to you enough how it drives me crazy when people say natty. Go out and get the natty. What? Go get a fly swatter if you want to get the gnat, for Christ's sake. Natty? Yeah. It's the whiniest, dumbest term for the phrase national championship. Ohio State won the national championship. They did not win a natty contest with a fly swatter, you morons. The next one is in the column of wins and losses. Win is W-I-N. For some reason, we've referred to it as dub. Dub? Got the dub? No.
Yeah.
What is this, dubstep? A lot of techno music? Dub. I feel like it should be saying dumb. We got the dumb. Dub. What? That's the same thing they called the Golden State Warriors. The dubs.
Yeah.
Okay, the last time I looked, win was spelled W-I-N, not D-U-B. W is not a D, D is not a W. Warriors is spelled with a W, not a D. And then the final one, and this one is really seems to be, I don't know if I was just paying attention recently or what, but Mark, every once in a while I would throw for a touchdown or Aaron Rodgers threw the winning touchdown pass. And we've decided to call a touchdown a tutty. You mean a tutty bear? Is it a stuffed animal? A bear? A tutty? Why do we have to call a touchdown a tutty? For crying out loud. Again, I feel like we get so lazy that we have to have acronyms or abbreviations for everything. We can't just spell out or speech out, talk out things. So I'm going to declare here on the Unfunniest podcast that we outlaw natty, dub, and tutty. Let's use the appropriate terms. National championship, win or W itself, and touchdown. So there's my rant of the week.
So can you say do it for the chip?
No,
do it for the ring?
Okay, in a weird way, do it for the chip. Is it chip or ship? It's chip.
Like championship.
Like a championship.
I heard it called the chip. You do it for the chip.
Okay. That actually, if you held me down and forced me to choose, I would absolutely 10 out of 10 times, I would rather say chip than stupid natty. Oh my God. It's probably the worst. Natty is by far the worst. Tutty is a close second.
Here's where I'm getting really old. I went the Gemini overview. Yes, chip is widely used slang for championship, especially in sports, although some argue ship from ship and championship is more accurate. Chip likely comes from a combination of shortening and maybe early pop culture names, while ship focuses on the final ship sound. But both are used to refer to winning the ultimate prize. That made me sound really crazy.
Can we? Yeah. Okay. So again, I guess if I'm forced, I'm using chip. I am not using the stupid natty because I feel like I should go get my fly swatter.
Well, and you don't like Cincinnati anyhow.
I didn't think about that. Tutty.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna go a bit little. Mike and I and Bobby and Jimmy were texting, and we were going over some, call it inside baseball type stuff, some inside stuff of one of our friends, Joe Schaefer, and some of his best comments. Mike brought up one of the favorite. If we're in the bottom, for those that don't know, there's a tunnel that goes between Detroit and Windsor, and we are looking at it 75 feet under the river is where the tunnel goes. In drinking age in Windsor is 19 versus 21 here in the U.S. So we turned 19, everyone always would go over to Windsor. So we constantly going back and forth before pre 9/11 when it was really easy to go across the border. Underneath the tunnel one day, and you're stuck down there because traffic's bad. And one of our friends yells, I think I was complaining about something, and rolls down his window and says, if you don't like it, you can go out and feed the dolphins. Those that aren't aware, there are no dolphins in the Detroit River, but maybe some muskie, but no dolphins.
Yeah.
And there was an argument. Mike and I are now, I just turned 51. Mike will be 50. We've known each other since 1989. So we've known each other a while. This is our longest ongoing feud. And I'm going to show a picture of this. And we're going to put a poll out, the second poll of the night. This has always been an argument. These are these little tiles that you can see going across, maybe about 2 feet long or so, give or take. Every time Mike and I would go back and forth, 3 times a week usually, we would have a fight. Mike would say, I bet there's more than 1 million tiles down here, because this is on both sides of the tunnel. And I would say, you're insane, Mike. There's no way that there are 1 million tiles. So we're going to put it out. We're going to put that picture out and say, is there more than 1 million tiles?
Yeah, because there has to be information.
There's got to be information.
So it's 22. It's 22 feet wide. Not that that would have anything to do with how many tiles, but what did it say? It's half a mile long? The tunnel?
close, probably. I'm even saying probably close to a mile.
I thought it
Maybe
was closer to a mile.
Yeah, and so that's probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tiles high. So
Is that what it
on
is?
both sides. Yeah, and I just counted 9 tiles high. And of course, as time's gone on, there's been many missing tiles. We may or may not have taken tiles from there as we were going across, or when people would have to use the restroom in the middle of the tunnel.
Well, the worst is, of course, I'm Mr. Short-Term Bladder Control. Bladder control. And when the tunnel would get backed up, you want to talk about sweating. Listen, I've lived my whole life this way with my short-term bladder control, but nothing is worse when you have to wait in the Detroit tunnel and there's literally water dripping from the ceiling of the tunnel down onto your vehicle, which makes and exacerbates your short-term bladder issue even further. But I did find on our AI overview friend on the Google search, the Detroit Windsor Tunnel is approximately 5,160 feet long, which is nearly 1 mile. So that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lowest point is 75 feet below the river's surface, serving as a crucial interior border crossing for vehicles. So yeah, it is 5,160 feet long. Well, if you take, okay, let's do some quick math. 5,160 times, what'd you say?
So
2 feet wide?
I'm going to guess they're 2 feet long. So when you times it by 2, you're going to have 5,000 feet or 5,000 tiles you're going to have times 9.
Times 9. No.
So nowhere near 1,000,000.
So it's 2 feet. Because if you go 5, so 5,000 divided by 2.
2 feet. 2 feet. Yeah.
2 feet per.
So that's why I'm saying 5,000 tiles in length.
Yeah, 5,000 tiles in length, right? And then what'd you say?
9 tiles high.
9. Yeah, there's not.
So you're only at it's far less than 1,000,000.
100,000.
That's it. We're going to Don Cherry's this Friday, and we're going to stop in the tunnel and count.
Yeah.
Bonnie, where are you at? You're coming with us.
Yeah, Bond's going with us. We got to call Joe. We got to call obviously Buck. Who else was some of our
Bajus?
Bajus was Beath.
McAndrews. McAndrews is going to bum money from all of us. And Hoppy's going to be there. We're going to come up with that picture of me, you, myself, Mike, and Andy Hoppy. With Mike, I think you had the talking Coors can T-shirt on, if I'm not mistaken. I got to find that.
I did.
Yeah, I think that's the one we had. But as we've rambled on, Mike and I said we're going to be no longer than 1 hour tonight. And of course, we are at the hour and a half mark. And Mike did not even go bathroom, so this is a long one here. So I'm going to play our outro music while we're kind of waiting here.
Hold on. Oh, well, one quick tribute. We lost this week. This is a man that was really close to Mike McAndrews, and
that's right.
of that. Yeah, Vic Michaels, who was the longtime director of the Catholic League, and was instrumental in many different things that the Catholic League came about over the last, I believe, 31 years. And he passed away suddenly, I believe, on a week ago Monday. He took a nap after his son's basketball game or his grandson's basketball game, never woke up.
Wow.
So 71 years old. I didn't know him really, really well. I deal a little bit more with Mike Evoy and Stephanie when I do any type of event for the Catholic League. And but I did know Vic very, very briefly over the past few years. And he was to what Mike and Jim have talked about on their podcast. He was a great man, and you could tell he was very well respected. I mean, the man walked into a room and just kind of had an aura about him. And when you're a director of a league like that for that long, and you're instrumental in many people in the positions that they are in, whether it's in the league itself or the athletic directors at the different various schools, he was instrumental in getting the Toledo Catholic schools implemented into the Detroit Catholic High School League, which was a big plus for them. So
yeah,
to the Catholic League, we're here. We're thinking about you. Our condolences to you and your loss of Vic this week, and to McAndrews too, because I know it hit him pretty hard. So yeah,
they were close. And on a side note too, Detroit sports writer, I don't want to call him a legend necessarily, Pat Caputo, with the announcement he has stage 4 pancreatic cancer today.
Man.
I've always loved listening to the book on every weekend, Pat Caputo. same thing, praying. There's something about driving around Saturday, Sunday mornings, listening to Caputo, and especially during the baseball season. That guy, there's a reason they call him the Book. He knew everything about the Tigers and everything about that.
Yeah, his voice is synonymous, that raspy.
I got something. Yeah, got it here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're clearly pulling for him too. So you never like to hear that kind of news.
Two horrible stories, but sounds like obviously great people, and thinking of both the families all at this time.
Yep.
All right, now we can end it on this note.
You can do your outro.
Mike, what are your big plans this week?
I'm going to get driving my car with my back, and after that, who knows? But this weekend is actually starting tomorrow. Is the Ultimate Detroit Fishing Show, which is taking place at the Suburban Collection Showplace. So that is
nice.
Again, that starts tomorrow, goes through Sunday. ultimatefishing.show.com. I do have some of my accounts that are participating and exhibiting at that show. So Thursday is 1 to 8, Friday's noon to 8, Saturday is 10 to 8, Sunday is 10 to 5. I'm actually going to go down there, I believe, on Sundays. Some of the guys that I work with are going to be there on Sundays.
Yep. Myself, just normal working, getting through weekend. I can breathe again. It's going down to an office every day is kind of different, but good situation. And going to say go Ducks over IU, so I get my pick right. And wishing everybody thanks for listening. Like, share, everything else. And thanks so much for your support.
Thanks, everybody. Much appreciated. See ya.